Sorry folks, the party is over, and that means you're gonna have to learn how to negotiate the sale of a home rather than just list a property, sit back and let the buyers negotiate against each other. That's right, here in my marketplace of Surrey and the Fraser Valley, most asset classes are sitting right between 4 and 5 months of supply. And that means you as the seller are going to have to learn what it takes to get your home sold in the real world. But luckily you have found this real estate channel, and just by clicking that big red subscribe button, you can unlock the power of knowing how to sell your home in a down market. That's not that down of a market, but it's more down than it was just a couple months ago. But you know one thing you can't keep down for very long? That thumb on the like button.
Really?
So if you go ahead and click the like button right now for the YouTube algorithm, I'd really appreciate it. And you may not know this, but most of my real estate business actually comes from word of mouth. So if you could do me a quick favor, next time you're chatting with a friend about how high real estate prices were but now aren't, if you could tell them about this channel and the fact that there's this 40-year-old fat guy that kind of knows or seems like he knows what he's talking about here in the Surrey marketplace, at least when it comes to real estate, and that maybe they should check out this channel too, well, I'd be forever grateful. But you are here to learn how to negotiate like a boss. So let's get into it. You see, since the beginning of about 2021, all you had to do to get a home sold was pretty much put it on the MLS and then let the buyers take a look. But now things are a whole lot different. Now you have to negotiate to get the price you want and the terms that you're looking for in the sale, because interest rates are going up, and that alone seems to be tightening up the entire marketplace. But you only really need to know one thing in this market, and that one thing is the trick to all negotiations in a balanced marketplace. And quite simply, in this market, the one thing you have to do to negotiate correctly is to, well, just keep negotiating. Sounds simple, right? Well, it's tougher than you think. You see, probably 75% or so of the job that I'm hired to do as a real estate agent is actually to take the emotion out of the whole process. Emotions are usually actually the one thing that stands in the way between you and a fair deal. But it's not just the emotions of you, the homeowner, it's also the emotions of the home buyer, who's also just trying to get a fair deal in terms that work for them. You see, absolutely any, or should I say almost every single home buyer and seller in a transaction, they tend to get their backs up against the wall when they see an offer that they deem to be too low, or a counter offer that they seem to think is higher than market value, or any other term in the contract that makes them feel like the other person is trying to get one over on them. As a home seller, this is because, well, this is your home. You're selling it. You've got a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and it's very likely your most valuable asset. Or it could be because you're putting some sort of emotional value on the fact that that's the place where you raised your kids. Or as a buyer, maybe you're frustrated because you're already stretching your budget to the absolute max, and the house still needs a little bit more work. And you're hoping that the seller has a little bit of sympathy for you because as the buyer, you have to now replace the roof only 3 days after moving in because they haven't done it since before the last time they smashed the like button for the YouTube algorithm. So what happens most often is both the buyer and seller get super frustrated with each other, so much to the point that they both end up walking away and not achieving a sale. So the seller has to keep trying to sell and the buyer remains homeless. Well, this is where you're screwing up. That's right. If you are offended because someone else wants or is offering different terms than what you're willing to accept, well, then you're not a very good negotiator and you're likely going to lose out as a result of being offended by what somebody else thinks. So, as a result, never, I mean never, let the deal die on your side of the negotiation table. What I mean by this is, even if it feels like you're getting absolutely nowhere with the other party, make sure that the last counter offer given is always coming from you to them.
How about a quick example?
Sure, let's say you are offering your townhouse for sale for $799,000. You receive an offer at $780,000, which is obviously way too low and very likely under market value. And you counter back with your bottom line at $789,000, which is truly your bottom line. Well, when the next counteroffer comes back from the buyer at $783,000 or $784,000, most sellers or listing agents will just stop conversation right there and turn their nose up at that counteroffer. Because remember, your bottom line in this case is $789,000. Well, I'm going to propose that it's your job as a seller in a balanced marketplace to counterback that offer, even if your counter is the same 789 as it was last time.
Why would you do that?
Well, because it shows that you are serious. And if you get offended that
I told you that was my bottom line and you still came back lower.
then you're offended that someone else, someone that has opposing interests to your interests, is trying to get a better deal for them, which is also exactly what you are trying to do for you. So the moral of the story is never let the deal die on your side of the negotiating table. Always make sure it's the other side that makes the decision to walk away. Because guess what? More often than not, the deal is just that close, and it only takes one or two more counters to get your home sold. And in what is likely going to be a declining market over the next few months, walking away from a negotiating table now means that you will very likely be selling for less even later. I'm interested to see what you think down below in the comments, and if you have ever walked away from a negotiating table. Remember that if you're thinking about selling your home and you want to get out before the Bank of Canada raises interest rates even higher, you can book a call with me right now down below in the description with just a few simple clicks. Please remember to subscribe, hit the like button, check out another video, and we'll see you in a couple of days.